I've learned that by me just telling or training or teaching something, it doesn't hold as much weight or it doesn't stick as well as sharing an actual story of what happened. So, and stories happen all day, every day. So it's like, this just happened. So anytime on our Monday morning hub, it's like, I'm explaining, hey, this happened over the weekend. Just want you guys to know it still happens to me. I'm more of a seasoned agent. I have a few years under my belt and things like this still happen to me. So it's normal. It's what's going to happen. It will happen to you many times. So don't get upset. But yeah, I think it's just kind of leading by example, because I can give you everything on a plate, but you lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink it. And I think that's what separates good agents and not good agents, is the people who are actually going to take the initiative instead of relying on somebody to say, first click on this website, then touch this tab. Like, you just got to go figure some stuff out. Google.
You're listening to the number one real estate podcast in the world, where we talk with real estate professionals all across North America about their wins, losses, lessons, stories, help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm missing a co-host. If you've listened to the Our Agent podcast in the past, you would know that Vikram Deal, we jam for a couple of minutes prior to these podcasts starting, talking about good news in life and business. But today we're just going to hop right into it. And I have a very special guest. We actually got connected through a past podcast guest, Ashley McDougall, who we just absolutely love. She kind of blew our minds around just really, really smart things. And today I'm really, really excited to have Nicole on the podcast. And I'm going to read Nicole's bio, because I don't usually do this, but I'm going to read Nicole's bio, and then I'm going to let her give you the high-end version of and the Sparkles version of what she does. But Nicole is a luxury real estate specialist serving Jupiter, Palm Beach, South Florida. She specializes in the luxury waterfront, and we're going to talk about that, and new construction development. As the founder and leader of Stanbra team, she has built a successful support team, which has cultivated local, national, and recognition, serving more clients year over year. Her unwavering work ethic, persistence, innovative marketing, and overall grit is the core to her team's culture. Nicole's approach to client experience has allowed the Stanbra team to represent over 400 clients, purchase, sell, invest in real estate in the Jupiter, Palm Beach, South Florida market. Nicole, so excited to have you today. I love that bio, number one, and we're going to dig into that.
Man, they should get a raise.
Somebody should get a raise. But I love it, and I would love to dive into niche marketing, because luxury waterfront is something that I am all about. But why don't you give us kind of like a high-level overview of kind of like how you got into the business? Like, we know what you've done, through niche marketing, through building a team. But what did you do prior to real estate, and how long have you been in real estate?
Sure. Yeah, it's so good to join you, Cody. So I always came from a business development, sales, and marketing background. I worked for utility companies and within their energy conservation division. So I was always working with and partnering with end users. It was business to business and a lot of direct client interfacing. And what I loved about it was the relationship aspect of it. What I didn't love was, in that industry, the long sales cycles. It would be like 2 or 3 years before a deal would close. So what I realized was, there's different types of sales in this world, like real estate, where you can essentially close, within 30 to 45 days. You meet a client, so I'm like, maybe this would fit my skill set and interest and drive a little bit better. So and then I always knew I wanted to work for myself. I looked through different business opportunities, and I knew I wanted my own business. And I think organically, my husband and I moved and purchased several homes every couple of years. And it came to the point where one of us just had to get our license. And I was pregnant with my second kid. And I figured, well, I'm on maternity leave. I got a couple of months to kind of just do nothing and kind of get paid, or do nothing by way of, taking care of a newborn. But, so I went and got my real estate license while I was on maternity leave. And it was really just for our own purpose, because we were ready to buy and sell a home. And I got my first deal under my belt, which was my own primary home. And I'm like, all right, I kind of like this whole idea. And just organically, things started kind of happening. And I was fully employed with my company. And I dabbled into it here and there. And I guess for the first year or so, I was just doing it part-time, just for like a side gig, right? But then I started seeing like, wow, you can make some decent money. And wow, I like just not having to, I like the autonomy. I liked having my own business and my own time and making my own money, eat what you kill. I kind of always came from that. So, yeah, I guess in within a year or so, I just jumped in full, 2 feet in full time, and kind of the rest was history. But it was the best decision I ever made in my life.
I love that. And I have this this theory that the vast majority, there's a few things that make a good real estate agent. And we were chatting with Eric Davis. I don't know if you know him. We were chatting with him last week. Has a really, really successful team out of Mississippi area. And I have this theory that there's a bunch of different reasons why real estate agents are successful. One of them is they either had a business in the past, they have some sort of sales background, or they've joined a team. And it's really interesting. I want to dive more into your sales background because you said something really interesting where you said the life cycle of a sale was a lot longer in your sales development, where I think in this market specifically, I chat with a lot of real estate agents from across the country. We interview a lot of them. And unfortunately, we get to interview a lot of the good ones like you. But I speak with a lot of people that are short-sighted when it comes to the life cycle of a lead. But it sounds like you have a different perspective around life cycle of sales based on your back end sales process. Sure. I'm curious to know, like, kind of like, how do you run your business from like a sales perspective with the sales background? Because I've had so many conversations with people. I actually, and I said this on our last podcast, I had a conversation recently with a client who didn't want to work with a seller that was looking to sell their property or considering selling their property because they said that their interest rate was too low and they weren't going to follow up with that lead because of the fact that they're not going to get that interest rate. So they just kind of threw the lead away. So like, what is your philosophy on your team around lead generation, around sales development, around business development? Like, kind of how does that operate within your business?
Yeah. And, I think everyone runs their own business. They have to make their own business decisions based on what works for them. I think as we're talking about this in hindsight, I think because I had that background of sales with the longer lead time, I truly understand nurturing, right? Like, it's 3 years of nurturing and follow up and building relationships and bringing value and like forever, to where maybe you get to the point where you close a sale. So for me in this business, that was natural. That just was something that I had no expectations that I was going to be closing business so quickly. And then when I saw it happening, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. But I will tell you, even today, there are people that I'm closing now from 3 years ago. Like, that is how deep the database goes, how far it goes back. So, I think within my organization, and here's the thing, it depends I think when agents got into the business. If they got in before COVID, they got into a very normal, healthy market, kind of like where we are now. And they know, it takes 60 to 90 days for a home to sell. It takes 120 to 180 days from the moment you connect to a lead to convert to close. Like, that is just the averages that we were kind of used to. Whereas if agents got in during COVID, the market moved so fast, buyers fell in your lap. And you can put someone under contract in a day and close in 2 or 3 weeks. So, the mindset, I think, changes based on when they got into the industry. So I have in my team, I had a lot of newer agents that did get their license during COVID. And that is a constant thing that I am having to train on and reset their expectations of A, clients are just not falling in our lap anymore. B, you have to constantly follow up. And C, you're going to have to nurture them. And these are lifetime clients. These are not transactional clients. So it's a whole different way to look at it. But I think I bring a little bit of that just organically from my background and my previous sales.
Yeah, it's really funny. We share the same type of ethos, and like I always end up with like, whenever Vikram's not here, I still always end up with people that just share the same type of ethos. I was chatting with our business development team, and I said to them, I'm like, we're removing the word lead, we're removing the word prospect from our vocabulary. I said that earlier this year. They're all future clients. if
Yes.
you can just shift your perspective and shift your mindset around every single person you speak with as a future client. Like we had a client, Mike, this week who, who was chatting with a couple leads, and neither of the leads, like he educated the lead, neither leads transacted with them, but he ended up, because he asked for an introduction to somebody else, he ended up getting an $890,000 listing, which was the lead's parents, and he got a $550,000 listing from a family member, just based on showing up, meeting with the person, and saying, "Hey, did you find this information valuable? Do you know anyone else who might find this information useful or is considering buying or selling?" And the connection was made, and 2 listings within the course of 30 days because he views everyone with respect and care. My question is, as a team lead, that is very difficult to instill into somebody that is a newer agent, or somebody that has come from the pandemic market, or somebody that is like, look, Nicole, I need to make money now. Like, how do you shift a perspective on your team to get somebody to realize that this is business is a long game, and like you have that perspective based on your sales experience in the background? Like, how do you shift that in your team, and how do you shift the perspective and the mindset of the agents that might not quite get or understand that?
Yeah, I think you said it when you teed up the question, which is you lead. You have to lead by example. I'm still in production. My goal is not to be in the next couple of years, this year, next year, I don't know. But I am still in production and managing a team and growing a team. But I think the benefit to them is that they get to see how I operate and how I treat my client database and how I follow up. And that, yes, this is a client forever. And yeah, maybe we had a deal go bad. Maybe they weren't hugging us and thanking us at the closing table, right? But I mean, I've had agents say, we need to trash them in the database. They'll never work. I'm like, no, never. They're forever in our family. First of all, I paid a lot of money for that lead, so they're not going anywhere. They're forever in the database. And I'm just going to nurture them so hard that they're going to forget all about the stuff that they were mad about. And we're going to become best friends, and they're going to refer me. So that is like the challenge that I put on myself. But I think it's showing them. They can see how I operate, but then just reminding them. And it's happened before. I think it's part of it is storytelling too. I've learned that by me just telling or training or teaching something, it doesn't hold as much weight, or it doesn't stick as well as sharing an actual story of what happened. So, and stories happen all day, every day. So it's like, this just happened. So anytime on our Monday morning hugs, like I'm explaining, hey, this happened over the weekend. Just want you guys to know it still happens to me. I'm more of a seasoned agent. I have a few years under my belt, and things like this still happen to me. So it's normal. It's what's going to happen. It will happen to you many times. So don't get upset. But yeah, I think it's just kind of leading by example.
The gurus, you're killing the gurus right now that are saying that to trash all the leads that are I am 100% with you there. Like, I've never understood that perspective of like, let's trash people that don't respond. It's like, let them opt out on their own.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
like love them until they don't want to be loved anymore. I'm 100% with you there. And like, I love that we share the same type of ethos. And that is a telling tale of why you're so successful in your market. And I'm excited to see you grow, because you just have that ethos. You share the very, very similar ethos to our company. So I want to shift gears, and I want to chat a little bit about marketing, because even as I was preparing, like, there's not a lot of like agents that understand marketing really well. They don't get it. As far as like agent avatar. And you, even in your bio, like, you kind of position yourself as a waterfront specialist. I'm curious to know kind of like what your strategy is around waterfront. Like, I think the fear that a lot of agents have, or a lot of team leads have, is like, if I position myself as the waterfront specialist, it's like, will commercial clients come to me? Like, what has been your strategy with your team around waterfront? What has been your strategy around marketing? What do you find is currently working right now in today's market?
Yeah.
That is actually driving real financial results for you?
Sure. Yeah. So I think it's all market dependent, right? Like where we're headquartered in is Jupiter, Florida, and we are surrounded by water, right? Like this is just a waterfront type of community here. There's definitely some homes inland who are not direct waterfront, but like people live in this area because they enjoy, for the most part, enjoy going to the beach, going on a boat, paddle boarding. They enjoy water sports and activities. So I think if you're going to work in any market, whether it's if your niche wants to be waterfront, or if your niche is golf and country club communities, or equestrian, like you need to not educate yourself, and you need to be knowledgeable, and you need to really take the time to learn and understand and do research. I think when it comes to like becoming a specialist, there's two approaches. There's fake it till you make it, or leverage a little success. And it really, I do both, right? Like, you know, what you put out there is all perception based on social media, or however you market yourself is how you want people to perceive you. I want people to perceive me as a luxury real estate waterfront specialist, right? So that's how I'm going to brand myself and market myself. So a lot of my video content, a lot of my pictures is me in front of a beautiful home that's on the water, because that's where I want people to, you know, associate me with. Right. And then I think in terms of leveraging, it just takes one, and it doesn't even have to be yours. Right. Like, I mean, people share these all the time. Like I was lucky enough, and I guess the stars aligned, where I was able to connect with a developer in the area who was building these beautiful luxury waterfront homes. And I was able to get a couple of deals going with him, which allowed me to go in a much higher price point, right? $4 or $5 million price point, which my average before that was probably like 500,000, right? So it was a huge jump that I was afforded the opportunity to get in that game. And so then it was like, how do I do more of this? How do I leverage this opportunity and just rinse and repeat and keep that level of clientele as my new average price point, right? So I think it was a mix of, I had to position myself in a way to even get in the door with a luxury builder. And without having any real luxury experience, right? Like maybe one or two here or there. But I had to position myself and be confident enough to speak and communicate and articulate like my game plan and how I can best serve them. And then once I did get in the game, it was over servicing, it was leveraging, it was trying to find more buyers, and just stay and just hold on tight to that price point, because I don't want to let it go. But a little bit of both.
You said something that I think a lot of people are going to glance over, and is the research phase.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think far too many agents that get into the space and they don't understand their market on a deep level. And I see this firsthand because we do a lot of lifetime nurture, and like I've seen forums where it's like for market updates that we send out for our clients, that I've seen forums that come back to us where it's a simple question of like, how many homes went under contract? And, you know, I saw a forum last week that said, I don't know.
Yeah.
They were like, well, look it up. How do people and how do agents find the information that would make them the expert? That, you know, do you have a process for your team? Like when it's like, I'm Cody, I joined Nicole's team, I want to learn everything I can possibly do, learn about the Jupiter market, I want to learn everything I can about the Florida market. Do you have a process that you take them through to make your agents the expert in the area as well? Like that helps them research? Like what does that process look like?
That's such a great question. As you're saying this, like I have bits and pieces, but now I really just need to make an SOP for it, because I love SOPs and most of my life is SOP. So what I do, part of the onboarding process is definitely giving them, like if they're brand new agents, is giving them the different resources, whether it's different websites, different accounts to follow on social, different types of reporting, making sure they understand how to connect and leverage our local board, which networking events and who to go listen to on panels, just to like give them the access, right? So part of the onboarding is I do lay that out, and I'll give them different ways to go. Now, I think honestly, Cody, it's who's going to take the initiative, because I can give you everything on a plate, but you lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink it. And I think that's what separates good agents and not good agents, is the people who are actually going to take the initiative instead of relying on somebody to say, first click on this website, then touch this tab. Like, you just got to go figure some stuff out, Google, but I will say I definitely show them how I gather my knowledge, and I will provide all the updates for them. And I tell them exactly where the source came from. But if they are not willing to put in the effort and do their own research, then, I could only do so much for them. So, but I will say, like, on waterfront stuff, because I will be completely vulnerable here. I did not do enough research before I first connected with that developer on waterfront. And this is a lesson learned, right? And this is, I think, why I'm even more of a stickler now on preparing and doing your research before you do anything. Like, I didn't really understand. Here in our area, there's fixed bridges, there's non-fixed bridges. We have intracoastal, we have ocean, we have inlets, we have rivers, we have lakes. All those different types of bodies of water will accommodate different size of boats. And I like boats. I like going on boats. I have friends who have boats. I don't have a boat, and I don't know.
An expert of boats?
I'm not an expert on boats. I love the beach. I'm really good at the beach, but I am not good at boats. So what I needed to understand, and I didn't know, was there's a difference between fixed bridge and non-fixed bridge. And there's a difference on prices and waterways and how you navigate and the size of boat that it can accommodate. So that was a huge learning lesson. And that was something I was able to educate myself on after the fact, but I should have before I met with him.
So it sounds like you have at least a lifelong learner mindset where it's like, I'm going to continually learn. I'm curious to know how, because there's the element of like, hey, I have this large database of people I'm going to love forever, but there's also another side of you with your team where you've done strategic partnerships. So I want to dig into that a little bit more about how you found access to the waterfront the developer, because I think a lot of real estate agents right now, specifically in this market, they immediately run to social media. They're like, okay, I want to build my business on social media. And it's like, they forget about the other ways to grow business. Like, my mentor, Sharon, my good friend, talks consistently about how there's 3 ways to grow business. There's the now business, which is like the door knocking, the cold calling, the open houses. There's the referral and sphere business, which a lot of agents tend to lean on, but no one wakes up in the morning thinking like, how, I'm going to refer Nicole more business. Like, this doesn't happen. And then there's pipeline business, which you've mastered. But inside of the referral and the sphere business sits the strategic partnerships. Mm-hmm. So my question is, how did you leverage that relationship? What was the process in which you began to leverage that relationship? And how did you find that relationship?
Okay, so this is so good. Also, can I just mention, like, part of my business planning this year is to do more business to business and other networking and marketing with other small businesses, specifically women entrepreneurs. Like, I'm obsessed with the idea. I'm putting together a women's only entrepreneur mastermind group. So we're going to be our own board of directors. Like, it's going to be amazing. So that has been a huge goal for me this year. But so to share how I even got in the door with that developer, this is how it started. There was a little lunch spot that I would go to called Fat Panda. And they made like really good, like street taco type stuff, like just good salads and stuff. And I loved it. I would go there a couple times a week. I'd sit, it was a little spot and it was brand new. And I just got to know the owner there because the owner was the owner and operator. And I always would post on social anytime I ate there. And I would just take a picture of the food and like shout them out or whatever. And he would reshare it. We kind of had like a little social, like love fest going back and forth. And then from there, we would see each other out and about because he was local. He had kids and a family. We see each other at the beach. So we just kind of like got to know each other a little bit through social and through eating. And then eventually he's like, hey, do you know so-and-so? And it was the sister who's also the owner of the development company. And she's like, she's just like you. She's a total boss babe. She's a woman in a man's industry. Like, you would love her. You just need to connect with her. And she is the construction supervisor. Like, she runs these builds. You have to get to know her. So he made the connection with her. And her and I just hit it off, like woman to woman. She's like, why don't you just come into her office and meet my brother? Well, I didn't know her brother was like the CEO, like he's a CEO, he's a president of the company, right? So I didn't know that I thought it was just meeting with her brother. Well, that's kind of, she opened the door for me. And then it was really on me to just sell myself, my business to this developer who happened to be her brother. But it all started with supporting local business, small businesses, sharing them on social, building that relationship. And that's the thing. The guy who owns Fat Panda, I've never done any business with him. He's bought and sold homes with other agents, never with me. Yeah. It's fine. He referred me. So it's not even like I need the people to call me when they want to buy a house. I just want to be top of mind so that they'll refer me to other people and help me network into different worlds that I don't have that connection to right now.
It's such a different perspective than the vast majority of agents have. And like, it goes to the clarity that you have in your business. And I love the fact that this year you've been thinking about, how do I do more B2B? How do I serve at such a higher level? How does I want to wrap up with this because I really think that what you have is an ethos to life, an ethos to business that is very, starts with abundance. I'm hearing a ton of abundance in your life. And I'm curious to know somebody that doesn't currently feel abundant, that doesn't feel like they're in a season where they can make things happen, or like, the serendipitous things are just happening. Like, that's very serendipitous. It's like, it's like you show up to like a panda, like you get connected to somebody that get connected to somebody. It's like it's very social. How does somebody that doesn't feel like they're in a season of abundance shift their perspective towards a season of abundance?
Yeah. I mean, I probably, like many gurus who you interviewed, it's mindset and gratitude, right? But maybe just even more granular. I literally, this last week was terrible. Last week I was in tears. I woke up at like 6 a.m. to 2 canceled contracts on 2 of my different listings. And I'm like, holy crap, this is bad. Like, this is not a good day. But I was like, all right, it's only 6 a.m, right? So I can allow this to destroy the rest of my day, or I can just figure out how to take one step in front of the other and just keep moving. So I think like at the most basic thing, it's just, you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep moving in the direction that you ultimately want to be. If you take a step back, if you get distracted and go in a different direction because you think, I don't know, maybe at the moment you have to change gears or whatever it is, you just have to keep making some kind of progress. And I don't know, I think it's as simple as that, because you can choose every day when you wake up. Am I going to have a good day, or am I going to have a crappy day? It's really a choice. So you can pray on it, you can meditate on it, you could do whatever you got to do to get your mind right. But it's simply a choice if I'm going to have a good day or if I'm going to have a bad day. And I just basically choose to have a good day. And because I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a team leader, I'm a colleague, like I'm a businesswoman, I have people who are watching me. So I have to, you can't like be negative. You have to be the positive cheerleader, the person who's inspiring and motivating, but you have to feel it in your own soul too. Otherwise it doesn't come through authentic and genuine. But just keep moving is all I got.
I love the 1 foot in front of the other, that allows you to kind of step into abundance. And like it, I want to wrap up with one of my favorite quotes from a book, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. He says, everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedom, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Nicole, I just want to say thank you. We share so much of the same ethos to life, to business, to helping people, to making a larger impact in our communities, for our people, for our teams. And if somebody were to want to reach out to you, maybe it's an agent-to-agent referral, maybe it's to potentially join your team in the local market. Maybe it is, somebody looking to buy or sell real estate in that area. Where's the best place that we can send them for them to have a conversation with you?
Yeah, I mean, on Instagram, I'm personally directly on it. So it's Stanbra Home Team is my handle. But otherwise, my website is stanbrateam.com. So just type in Stanbra. I think I'm the only one here in Florida. So you'll find me.
Nicole, above my heart, I want to say thank you. It was an absolute pleasure to chat with you today. And I want to say thank you for tuning into another episode of the Our Agent podcast. If you're listening back on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're at in the world, if you could leave us a review, it would really mean the world to us on iTunes and Spotify. We're really trying to make a massive impact in the real estate community, serving at a really high level to help more real estate agents win in their local market today. Essentially what a review does, we don't ask for a whole lot. A review is going to give us the ability to get seen by more real estate agents so we can help more people have a larger impact in the real estate community. I want to say thank you for tuning in another episode. We'll see you soon.